What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, look, thank you to the people that tuned into this video. What's good, subscribers? And to the people who have not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we release more videos. And thank you to everybody that has donated and helped the cause out on Venmo and Super Chat during the live streams. Your support is much, much, much appreciated. Now I'm going to talk about a subject that I have gone into and talked about a lot, and one where I've taken a lot of heat from a certain fan base, that being Anthony Joshua fans. But it's been interesting how the tone of the comments that I've received have changed over time. From fans being extremely avid about Anthony Joshua and what he can do in the ring, to a marked shift to, can you just stop beating up on Anthony Joshua? Can you stop talking about him? Can you just leave it alone? Find something else to talk about. Be more creative. You know, those type of comments. And that is because, and I believe this shift has taken place because people have realized in large part that there is no way to defend what Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn have been doing with the heavyweight championship. And that is attempting to milk it in con boxing fans. And there was a statement that was released today or attributed to Deontay Wilder, which I think really illustrates this point. And I think it's a sad thing. It's something I wish wasn't the case, but since it's something that's happening in such a grandiose and obvious fashion, I think that it's a learning moment for boxing fans, because you can really see the exposure of a hype job. Not saying that Anthony Joshua can't fight, but a hype job in everything that goes around him, and this attempt to paint him as this great champion who's taken over the world of boxing and has, he's the heavyweight champion of the world, and that there's nobody out there that has accomplished what he's accomplished, and he's the number one guy in the heavyweight division. And when you're the number one guy in the heavyweight division, by default, in my opinion, you're the number one guy in boxing. And with Anthony Joshua, that's not the case. But that was a hard argument to show when you just look at boxing records, because people can look and say, well, look at who he fought, look who the other guy fought. And you can have this subjective debate about whether or not Anthony Joshua deserves more credit than Deontay Wilder because he has more belts than Deontay Wilder, as if you can fight more than one person at a time. You can fight for two belts at the same time, but you can't fight more than one person. You're fighting the same number of people if you fight for one belt as if you fight for three belts. You never know who the best fighter is between two people until they actually get in the ring. There are people who have no belts that are better. In my opinion, there's a guy that has no belts, never had a belt, and is a better fighter than Anthony Joshua, and that's Luis Ortiz, in my opinion. And he's only had a chance to fight for a belt one time. And the only way you would be able to know whether or not Anthony Joshua is better than Luis Ortiz is if they fought. But unfortunately for Luis Ortiz, and fortunately for Anthony Joshua, there were powers in boxing and situations were manipulated in a way where Anthony Joshua never had to test himself against the guy. But listening to what Deontay Wilder says, look, man, Anthony Joshua needs to be embarrassed. And he does. As a champion, Anthony Joshua should be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for Anthony Joshua. Let me rephrase that. I would be embarrassed for him if he did not have a bunch of casual boxing fans that were so disrespectful to Deontay Wilder and pretty much disrespectful to every legitimate heavyweight who is not named Anthony Joshua, who is not on Anthony Joshua's resume. And this is what Deontay Wilder says about this. And it's not necessarily about the reason that I'm reading it isn't necessarily just about what he said, but it really speaks the truth about what a champion, what a hype job this champion is. I won't read the whole article, but I will read the quote. He said, "I ain't gonna worry about that April date because it ain't gonna happen. These guys don't want to fight me. We knew the April fight wasn't going to happen when Eddie Hearn sent a contract and Joshua came out here advertising and putting out to his fans that he signed the damn contract. And when we get the contract, Eddie Hearn's name is on it. I said, look at this ish. They don't want to fight. They don't want to fight. They don't want to fight. I'm so happy this is over. They can move on. They can go about their business. He will get found out. He will get knocked out sooner or later. If it ain't by me, it'll be by somebody else. So hey, we wish him nothing but blessings, nothing but prosperity in his career, man, until he grows some balls to fight me. I'm done. He disgusted everybody. He disgusted me. He should be embarrassed and he should be disgusted by himself for being a champion and conducting himself in this way. No champion acts that way. No champion talks like they're not ready. As a champion, there's no such thing as not being ready when you have all these hungry lions out here ready to eat. Forget trying to trick people out of their money, trying to scam them into ticket sales and make it seem like it's more than what it was, because those things come back to haunt you. You can't keep lying and lying and lying and it don't come back. The thing about a lie is that you have to keep it fresh. You have to keep refreshing it without even remembering what you said in the last interview. You want to talk so much and you just lie. And now the people have realized it. We're showing him now, showing him how you're supposed to do this. If Fury wins, I'll get in the ring and we'll promote the fight. We'll officially announce it and we'll go from there. I respect all fighters, so I can't call him any type of name, but he want to fight lower opposition than me. He don't want to fight the best in the division, and people have seen it. They just want to scam people out of their money. They look at this and said, how much money can we make? That's why he never went to no other country. That's why he always wants to be in England, because he was ripping those people off. Those people in England are getting ripped off blindly, but they finally woke up, or some of them are waking up. Some of them enjoy it. Some of them don't give a damn. If they don't, they can keep giving their wages to them. And when you can't pay your rent next month, don't be crying. So this is the point that I want to focus on. I like this. If you keep lying and lying and lying, you got to remember what you said. And the two biggest ones that stand out to me in this particular in the events that have happened in the last few days are two things. One, that Eddie Hearn signed the contract that was sent to Deontay Wilder. Eddie Hearn, on the interview that was on the Boxing Voice, shout out to the Boxing Voice, said that he's the one that signs the contract. He has a promotional agreement with Anthony Joshua. So Anthony Joshua is the one. So Eddie Hearn, not Anthony Joshua, is the one that signs the contract. If that's the truth, then why did Anthony Joshua say he was going to sign the contract? Anthony Joshua said he signed the contract. Whether or not, and I thought about this for a second, because I'm like, even if it was the case, I mean, there's the obvious situation where the person that wants to fight Anthony Joshua would insist that Anthony Joshua's name be on the contract, at the very least in an acknowledgement that he understands that this fight is taking place. You can request that the guy's signature be on the contract, even if, for some strange reason, Eddie Hearn has power of attorney over Anthony Joshua and can sign him up for fights. I mean, that's something big when the guy doesn't sign the contract himself, right? Anyway, but the fact is that he said that he was going to sign it. Anthony Joshua said or maybe he said, we'll sign the contract. which means Eddie Hearn will sign the contract. Anyway it goes, that is a contradiction. And then the latest contradiction that this guy has is when he moves from Showtime to DAZN for his fights in the United States. And I mean, and DAZN is a good place for Anthony Joshua in the United States. It keeps him nice and safe, which means he doesn't have to fight Deontay Wilder or anybody that fights on Showtime, right? So he stays nice and safe away from Anthony Joshua. His numbers aren't worth crap in the United States anyway. So the same amount of people probably fewer people will actually watch him on DAZN than they would have watched him on Showtime. But that's what it is. But he says that the business isn't about loyalty. It's about making the right moves for his career. But didn't Anthony Joshua say that the reason that he wanted to stay in the UK was because he wanted to be loyal to boxing fans that have supported him? And it wasn't all about the money. It was about loyalty to the UK fans that have been with him. So I believe Showtime has been televising this guy's fights since the beginning. Maybe it was ESPN, but I'm pretty certain that I saw live in the middle of an afternoon Anthony Joshua's professional fight professional debut in the United States. And I'm pretty sure that was on Showtime. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was on Showtime. Definitely all of his championship fights have been on Showtime. But you don't think it's important to be loyal to them who's been with you from the beginning. But it's important, and business isn't about, how about this? It's not about anything if that thing is going to lead you to take a chance that you don't want to take. Anthony Joshua is an embarrassment, dude. This clown, I don't think I've ever seen a heavyweight champion definitely not with 3 belts, ever lose the amount of respect from boxing fans that Anthony Joshua has lost in the last 7 months. He's only fought one time and he won the one fight that he had, but he might as well have gone on a 3-fight losing streak for how much his reputation is tanked during this negotiation with Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's profile has grown immensely, and Anthony Joshua is looking like a coward. Whose fault is that? It's either Anthony Joshua's, or it's Eddie Hearn's, or it's both. But I think it's primarily Anthony Joshua's, because Anthony Joshua doesn't see the forest for the trees. I mean, anybody that would have a situation where they don't even, in a situation like Anthony Joshua is in, where Anthony Joshua is he's the major bread earner, the marquee fighter for a promotional company, and he doesn't have the authority to sign the contracts to approve the fights that he's getting in. If you take what Eddie Hearn is saying is true, which is that Eddie Hearn is the one that signs the contracts, Eddie Hearn, then if that's true, Eddie Hearn is the one that has the ability to decide what Anthony Joshua does. A guy in Anthony Joshua's situation doesn't have that ability. But then again, it's Eddie Hearn, so you don't know, because he lies consistently, constantly, and reliably. Anyway, it is what it is. Man, I don't think there's an about face that can come with Anthony Joshua, because the way that he's acted, I just happen to believe that they know he's not very good. Because if they had any faith that this guy really had the ability to win this fight against Deontay Wilder, they might act like it. But they're not. So, like Deontay Wilder said, man, he'll get knocked out sooner or later because he can't be real. And with that, I'm out. Peace.